Ben! Ben! No, what the fuck is that? Those are feet prints. Look at that.
It's getting closer.
That's a woman screaming.
It's getting closer.
Oh, freak! Oh, freak's sakes! Oh!
Remote camping encounters can turn dangerous before you even understand what is happening. From a stranger walking straight into a solo traveler's campsite to a mysterious light, forcing two explorers to flee barefoot into the night, how would you react when the darkness starts closing in? The first story comes from the YouTube channel Sydney. On May 15th, 2026, she uploaded a video documenting her solo journey through North Georgia, near Dalton and Ellijay.
Well, it says my site is right here. Here we go. Please tell me there's nobody here. Thank goodness. I just realized there's a tent down there. Like, is somebody homeless living over there? I don't know what to do. There's a freaking tent over there. Do I go up to it? Hello? Is anybody in that tent? I'm in a pickle, guys. I'm in a pickle. I'm in a bit of a pickle because I don't know if there's somebody in that tent, and I don't know where else to go without having to scale a mountain. So I'm just gonna back up and call this camp. Oh, this is so annoying. I don't know how I'm gonna get out of here either.
Sydney travels alone in a 30-year-old vintage van, recording life on the road, remote camping trips, and the unpredictable situations she faces along the way. The day had already been difficult. Her engine had been overheating, her brakes were struggling on steep descents, and the mountain roads were difficult for a van that was never designed for that kind of terrain. With daylight running out and few options left, Sydney pulled into a flat clearing where she hoped to stop for the night. She was exhausted and ready to take a break from the difficult drive. But almost immediately, she noticed something that made her uncomfortable. There was already a tent nearby. It appeared abandoned and was set up in an unusual place away from the water. Sydney felt uneasy and considered leaving. When traveling and camping alone, she normally followed one important rule. If something felt wrong, she trusted her instincts. This time, because finding another camping spot would mean continuing through difficult mountain roads, she decided to stay.
Dude, I'm like scared. I don't know where he went. Wait, holy.
You okay?
Yeah. But there's some like guy right there.
Right where?
Like he just like walked through my campsite. Holy I'm shaking right now. What?
I'm shaking too.
I feel like I shouldn't like be like shaking this bad. I don't know, like, hold on. Oh.
Do you need to call the cops or anything?
No. But oh my god, dude.
Are you leaving the camp?
Yeah, I'm leaving. Holy shit. Oh god. Sorry. This isn't funny, but it's like
It's fucking sketchy, bro.
dude, my only saving grace. Oh my god.
Later, Sydney was sitting inside the van on a FaceTime call with friends from university. She was laughing and distracted, and the windows were still uncovered. Then she noticed a man approaching the campsite. He did not appear to have hiking equipment or clothing suited for the outdoors. He simply walked directly into the camping area as though he belonged there. Even after noticing Sydney inside the van, he showed no hesitation. Sydney immediately became frightened. She started the engine, hoping the noise might make him keep his distance. It did not. The man walked directly across the area, lit by her headlights, drops his bag near that abandoned tent, Then he started pacing back and forth while looking in her direction. From Sydney's perspective, the situation was becoming more uncomfortable. The man did not seem surprised to find her there, and he showed no sign of leaving. Sydney quickly put the van into drive and left the clearing. She eventually reached the parking lot of a Holiday Inn. She was safe, but still shaking as she tried to process what had happened. Sydney realized how differently the situation could have gone. If she had not been distracted by the call, she likely would have already closed the window covers and might not have seen the man approaching. If she had been wearing headphones, she might not have heard him either. She believed she had narrowly escaped a dangerous situation, and after that night, she decided she would never ignore her instincts again. Distraction can reduce situational awareness because our attention is limited. During solo camping, focusing too much on a phone call, music, or another activity can make changes in the surrounding environment easier to miss. Sydney could not know what the man truly intended, but his approach and behavior were enough for her to decide that staying was not worth the risk. Sometimes there may be an ordinary explanation, but when you're alone in a remote place, waiting to find out can be a dangerous choice. Would you have left after seeing the tent or stayed until the man appeared? Sometimes the most disturbing part of a forest encounter is not what you see, but what you hear. Brad learned that when strange sounds began following his movement through the woods. The next video comes from Exploring with Brad, an adventure and exploration channel known for immersive first-hand filming, genuine reactions, and hands-on survival in extreme conditions. Brad does more than simply visit unusual locations. He stays overnight, tests the environment around him, and records whatever happens in response. The footage was uploaded on June 6, 2026, and was filmed near Barrie, Ontario, Canada.
To this next exciting camping adventure, really excited. Back at the Skinwalker Forest to look for more activity. I mapped out the terrain. I found exactly where those forts were so I would not get lost again. I made sure to pack a lot of food, like we're gonna start a campfire. We will have a campfire story. We will go back out and we will search and see what we can find. And hopefully we can do the sleep experiment at those forts again.
As darkness settles over the dense woodland, Brad establishes his base camp and starts a fire. He then sits down and shares a local horror story called The Black Antler Road, setting the mood for the night. Not long after, the forest begins to feel strange and unsettling sounds start coming from the darkness.
Whoa! Okay, that was creepy. I heard something come from the left-hand side. Oh my god, like right when I asked that question, that went down. There's the other tripod there. Okay, I'm gonna ask some more questions. We'll see what else we can get out of this.
Brad heads out alone along the dark trail. As he moves carefully through the woods, a soft shushing sound is heard very close to the camera. The sound does not seem distant or clearly connected to any one direction. To Brad, it appears to come from somewhere in the nearby brush.
You walked straight into my trap.
Something out there. I'm gonna have to pack my stuff. This is crazy.
He continues deeper through the confusing network of trails. Then, from somewhere among the trees, a voice that sounds like someone in distress can be heard asking for help. In an isolated forest at midnight, the sound immediately makes the situation feel more serious. Brad keeps moving. The spirit box produces another response almost immediately afterward. The atmosphere becomes increasingly tense as he continues through the forest.
Hello? Oh, freak! Oh, freak sakes! Oh, man! Oh, man! Holy freak sakes! Oh! Keep going, Brad! Keep going, Brad! Oh, what the hell was that? Oh, man! Oh, freak, that scared me. Oh boy. Oh, something is out there. I'll tell you what. Oh, Get off trail. I wonder if I can catch it on film. If it's coming through here, I wonder if I can catch it on film.
Brad eventually stops, turns toward the trees, and shouts into the darkness, challenging whatever might be there to reveal itself. Seconds later, a loud crash erupts from the foliage only a few feet away. Brad immediately runs toward the exit, keeps moving, and does not stop. Dense forest can make the direction of sounds difficult to judge because trees' uneven terrain and nearby vegetation can change how sound reaches the listener. At night, this can feel even more confusing because there are fewer visual clues to help identify where a noise came from. The spirit box responses and the voice from the trees appeared close together in the sequence of events, but there was no clear way to confirm their source. Brad had also made it through the trees, trembling and gasping for breath, clearly ready to conclude his investigation. Whatever caused the sounds, he had heard enough for one night. Would you have kept exploring or left after the first strange voice? The third video tonight comes from Haunted Finders, a UK paranormal investigation channel, known for real-time explorations overnight, camping investigations, and natural reactions. The team uses full-spectrum cameras, EMF meters, and spirit communication devices while investigating unusual locations. The footage was uploaded on March 9th, 2023, and was filmed in Sherwood Forest, Nottinghamshire, England.
Is it a...
What's that?
Is that a fox?
It's getting closer.
That's a woman screaming.
It's getting closer.
On night vision.
That's an owl.
Is it?
No, that was then. That isn't. That's the owls squeaking. Look.
Touch.
Touch.
What is that? Somebody in trouble? Can you remember that before? We
Yeah.
had that.
Yeah,
Up
in the
there,
exact
wasn't
same
it?
area. Exact same area.
That sounds like an animal.
The forest is widely known for its trees and old legends, but after dark, its paths and thick, overgrown areas can feel very different. During the nighttime camping investigation, a high-pitched scream suddenly cuts through the trees. The sound seems close, and the team immediately stops to listen. They consider whether it could be an animal, but they do not believe it sounds like a fox. They cannot see whatever made the sound, but they believe they can hear exactly where it is coming from.
That's not a fox. So what else flipping screams like a woman?
Wrong.
What? Says wrong.
Wrong. What do you mean wrong? Like you're wrong.
Is
Well,
that
you
a
said it was
human?
you said it was a flipping animal and it says you're wrong.
Is that a human? I suddenly stopped.
My hairs are standing up on the back of my neck. And do you know when
I
you're
just feel like-
frozen with fear? Like you were telling me to get to the path and I didn't move. What other animal just randomly screams?
As the investigation continues, one of their devices produces the word bones. Then Tom remembers something important. According to him, they heard the same kind of scream during an earlier visit months before, and it came from the exact same part of the forest. The same area, the same kind of scream, months apart. The team begins to wonder why the sound seems to return to the same location.
Before. Last time we was here.
Murder.
Okay.
Share my message, murder. Someone just whispered again.
Yeah.
Someone just whispered again.
Yeah.
He's coming from over here. It's here. It's over here, yeah, it's like here. It's like right here, look. Right here.
Hang on. Let me get this.
Here, next to me, here.
Where are you?
It was like it was coming from right here, like it was standing next to me.
Are you here?
I'm going to leave.
Later, Tom asks for something relevant to come through. First, he hears what he believes is a whisper with his own ears. Soon after, the app clearly produces the words, "Share my message," followed immediately by "murder." The responses appear one after another, but there's no clear way to know what caused them or whether they were connected.
That definitely sounded like something going across the brush on the lower part of the forest.
Could have been an animal.
Yeah. Well, why is it following us then?
Don't know. Where are you going?
What? I'm going to the car. What if it's a big cat?
Oh, you just...
Neat.
Meat!
What does it say?
Meat! Where the cat's meat? Oh shit, my battery's dying now, it's flashing orange.
Oh,
My camera's flashing orange. We might not even get out of
so
here.
is my face.
It's weird, something was following us then. 100%. Well
It
no,
must be crazy doing this.
it goes on for miles, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
Could be anything in here.
The investigation becomes more uncomfortable, and the team decides to leave. As they make their way out, they begin hearing heavy, distinct footsteps moving through the dry brush. The sounds seem to track their movement through the forest. They are not clearly ahead of the team or directly behind them. Instead, they stay some distance away and appear to match the group's pace step for step as they continue toward the exit. Once they reach the vehicle, Tom explains that he kept his flashlight pointed toward the brush on the right side during the entire walk back. He did it because he was worried that something might come out of the vegetation and catch them by surprise. The team makes it out of the forest without being hurt, while the battery continues draining during the walkout. In dense woodland trees, uneven ground, and thick vegetation can change how sound travels. This can make it difficult to tell exactly where a scream or movement is coming from, especially at night. The team never confirmed what caused the scream or the footsteps in the brush, but hearing the same kind of scream from the same area months apart is the detail that leaves the biggest question. What do you think could cause the same sound to return to one part of the forest again and again? On March 31st, 2025 in Mississippi, Roman, of the Roaming Reckless channel, was continuing her 50-state journey with her dog, Tazzy. Her videos usually document long drives nights inside her aging Land Rover and the problems that come with life on the road. But when she entered the state that evening, conditions changed quickly, and the coming night would challenge her in ways she had not anticipated.
Oh my gosh. Oh great, we're in a flash flood warning. Love it. Yeah. All right. Oh my gosh, my wiper just fell off. My wiper literally just fell off. Oh, I think I see it right there. Luckily, I think it just fell onto the bonnet. This is the weather and I have no wiper. Yep. Welcome to Mississippi. This is nuts. Holy cow. Oh no. My wipers just stopped working altogether. It's cool.
The rain started immediately. A flash flood alert appeared on her screen while the storm tightened around the vehicle. Visibility vanished quickly, and the road became difficult to make out beneath the downpour. Roman continued forward, hoping the storm would ease, but conditions stayed the same. Then another problem appeared. In the middle of the storm, one of the wiper arms came loose and fell away. With the rain coming down hard, losing it left her with almost no clear view of the road. She stopped to recover the part, but it was too late. The wiper could no longer function. She began looking for somewhere safe to stop relying on limited visibility and instinct alone.
Hurry up! Go potty! This storm is way worse than last time. Go potty! Go potty! Hurry up! Kazi, go potty! This is not good. Oh my gosh, this is awful. Oh my gosh, this is horrible! I don't know if you can tell, but I'm absolutely drenched. And we thought Tennessee was bad. Tennessee was nothing. Back at it again, camping in a storm. The flash flood warning is only on for like the next hour though, so I think we'll be fine. Oh my gosh, I have so many leaks in this truck. Dinner tonight is inspired by Kendrick Lamar because in the Peekaboo song, he has this line where he says, "Cacio pepe if I'm doing pasta. Cacio pepe if I'm doing pasta. Why you acting tough on IG Live?" Voila. 3-ingredient pasta. Basically just heating stuff up. Super easy. A little thunderstorm. A little pasta. It's all good.
I finished up dinner, changed out of my wet clothes finally, and then Tazzy and I headed up in the Alicab to go to sleep for the night.
Eventually, she reached a small town and stopped long enough to recover and take Tazzy outside. The rain continued, relentlessly drenching them within moments. She returned to the truck, worn out from hours of driving and battling the storm. For a short time, she tried to calm down and prepare to spend the night. Inside the vehicle, she made a basic cacio e pepe, while reflecting on the hours spent driving the restless feeling that followed a full day behind the wheel, and her hope that the worst weather was behind her. With the diesel heater on and dinner ready, the interior finally became peaceful again, though only temporarily.
A couple of hours after we fell asleep, the storm picked up actually, and it was worse than it had ever been before. A lightning bolt struck somewhere very close to the truck while we were sleeping, and the crack was so loud, it jolted me at least a foot out of bed, and I am not joking. After that, Tazzy and I spent the rest of the night shaking, and I can genuinely say I have never feared riding out a storm before while camping. It was just so intense, and it felt helpless to be in the middle of such an insane thunderstorm, feeling like a target basically in the woods, that a mouse actually got into my truck and chewed its way through. But more on that later. Anyways, safe to say I was really grateful to wake up in the morning, safe and with the sun shining. Girl, Mom, good girl.
Later, after she had fallen asleep, lightning struck nearby with enough force to wake her instantly. She and Tazzy remained awake after that, unsettled by how abruptly it happened. In the morning, she discovered evidence that a mouse had entered during the storm and chewed through insulation before vanishing. She cleaned the mess, picked up supplies for the journey ahead, and moved on after one of the most difficult nights of her trip. Viewers who knew Mississippi weather pointed out that storms producing nearly continuous lightning can occur close to much more dangerous conditions. Others said they could not imagine sleeping through such a night even inside a home, leading some to wonder what may have passed through the area while she was asleep. With lightning close enough to pull her from sleep and animals searching for shelter inside the truck, viewers were left wondering, had she experienced only the outer edge of the system, or had something much more powerful moved past her in the darkness? Jasko, a filmmaker and urban explorer known for recording investigations on YouTube, ventures into abandoned buildings and remote forests with his friends Chris and Ben. But one place was different, the Devil's Forest, a location linked to violence, deaths, and disappearances. On September 16, 2025, Jasko and Chris camped deep inside it, unaware the quiet would disappear. While following a trail, Jasko suddenly heard someone calling his name in a voice that sounded like Chris.
I just heard my name being called from down the trail.
The problem was that Chris was nearly a quarter mile away in the opposite direction. What happened next would leave Jasko losing sleep for nights afterward.
But Chris is in that direction. Chris? But if he's down there, then... What the f***? Yo! Who's down there? Hello?
This was not Jasko's first unsettling experience in the forest. Years before, he had camped there during winter with his friend Ben. While they slept, footsteps crunched outside their tent, and a spirit box had indicated someone was approaching.
Scottish.
Seconds later, a scream carried through the frozen woods.
Oh! Ben! What the fuck was that? Yeah.
When they searched the area, they discovered fresh footprints on a log lying across a frozen lake.
What? Look on that log right there. Holy... Ben? Those are feet prints. Look at that. What? No.
The tracks seemed to appear without explanation before stopping just as abruptly. What happened that night has never been explained. Back in the present, Jasko had just gone through what he called the scream of his life. Soon afterward, he and Chris were about to discover the legend connected to the Devil's Forest.
Chris?
Yo.
Chris, did you hear that? Somebody just break a fucking window? What was that? What was that?
That was so loud.
As they got ready to sleep, a loud noise similar to breaking glass came from outside their van. When they checked, nothing seemed cracked, damaged, or broken.
Something there?
I don't know.
But Chris, what would make that glass noise?
I don't know. That's what I'm wondering. It doesn't make sense. It makes no sense.
Is someone out here like messing with us?
But the most frightening part was still ahead. Moments later, Jasko and Chris faced what they considered the most terrifying experience they had ever endured.
No. Chris!
That
was a gunshot.
was absolutely.
That was a gunshot. Did you see anything?
There's a light. There's a
What?
fucking light right there.
Whoa!
What is that?
Oh
What
shit!
is that? There's somebody out
Chris,
there?
what the fuck?
What is that?
Yo, there's someone out there. There's someone out there.
There's actually someone.
Bro, that's a light.
Is it moving?
That's a fucking light. It's moving. Chris, it's moving. There's someone outside the van right now.
What are they doing? There actually has been somebody here the whole time.
What the fuck?
A moving light appeared between the trees, making it clear that someone or something was nearby and moving around their position.
Bro, if they have a gun and we're fucking hearing shit.
Afraid for their safety, they left the campsite and ran barefoot into the darkness, refusing to stop until they were miles away from the forest. Whether the incident involved something paranormal or people remains unknown. What is certain is that Jasko entered the Devil's Forest twice, and both visits ended with him fleeing for his safety and that of his friends. Their escape shows that sometimes getting away is the only choice, but not everyone has that opportunity. Brendan later learned this when he became trapped as headlights and footsteps closed in around his van. Some believe these encounters suggest human danger, while others think something much more disturbing was involved. Would you stay and investigate or leave without looking back? In this final video, we follow Beth from Beth's midlife adventure. On March 14th, 2025, deep inside Georgia's Blood Mountain Wilderness, she prepared for another quiet night on the road. Her channel normally captures the slower, calmer side of solo van life, but this time something about the woods felt different. The stillness, the isolation, and the feeling that someone might be watching refused to fade. She had picked a dispersed campsite in the Blood Mountain Wilderness between flowing water and silent forest. After days spent dealing with leaks in Louisiana, the area felt peaceful, almost like a fresh start. Yet, even calm places can hide a sense of unease just beyond view.
Today on the Appalachian Trail, and I'm headed to Preacher's Rock, about 2 miles there and back. First time I've ever got a hike on the Appalachian Trail. It's been a dream of mine. I did some hiking on the Pacific Crest Trail, but have never been to the Appalachian Mountain. Everything is kind of dead right now just because of the season. Some things are starting to bloom, but it's gonna be a good hike. When I am hiking, it's definitely when I do most of my thinking. Just gives me space to clear my head and have movement at the same time, so it's like a healthy way to process things. But I just have a lot on my mind right now, and doing this hike, I think it's a perfect way to kind of process through some of those thoughts. And I'm already breathing heavy. I've been down in the south, down in Louisiana for too long. These Appalachian Mountains are getting me out of breath here. The elevation. I'm used to the Sierra Nevadas on the west coast, so this is nothing, but it feels like a lot right now. So sad. Do you ever hold your breath on the trail when you pass by people so they don't hear how loud, out of breath you are? I do that. I hold my breath and pretend I'm not dying.
That morning, she hiked the Appalachian Trail toward Preacher's Rock, finally following a route she had wanted to experience for years. The climb proved tougher than expected, but still meaningful. What she could not have predicted was how different the woods would seem once she returned to camp.
So something crazy kind of happened today. I was actually sitting in my van. I am pretty deep in the Georgia woods. I'm doing something called dispersed camping out in a wildlife management area where you're allowed to park like it's public land, certain spots in the woods. I've just been all by myself out here. I'm in this area called Blood Mountain. This car parks behind me and a guy gets out. He literally walks into my campsite, like goes straight up to the creek, and I notice he has a tripod and a camera. I'm like, why is he taking photos right in my campsite? The creek goes the whole way. There's tons of waterfalls. You don't need to come right into my campground. Meanwhile, it's middle of the day, so I do not have my window coverings up. I'm actually sitting up on my bed working on my laptop. Well, then a second gentleman gets out of the car, and I call him a gentleman because he's a little bit older. Okay, like he's going to realize somebody's here because I'm obviously not sitting out. My, as you could see, is like not even 4 feet from the door of my van, yet they're walking in between my fire ring that I have right there that has smoke coming up because I had a fire, and my door. And I see him walk up to my front window where Apollo is sitting in the front seat. And he is looking in the window, waving at Apollo, talking to him. And I'm like, I am right here. I'm right here working. He's right there in my window. It was so uncomfortable. I'm like, okay, he just saw the cat. He's going to move on. But no, then he starts looking into my side window right here, my sliding door window. There's all this wide open space. Were they trying to intimidate me? He comes up to the foot of my bed where my window is by my feet and is looking into the window into my van. I went into fight or flight mode. And guys, I chose fight. Why did I choose fight? And I did something I should not have done. I opened my door. Hindsight, stupidest thing ever. But I went in there like, excuse me, can I help you? No, I cannot help them. No, why did I open my door? I am not gonna take on 2 grown men by myself. That's just not gonna happen. But that was my instinct. I'm disappointed in myself.
The following day, 2 men drove up behind her van and entered her campsite without hesitation. One set up a tripod inside her area while the older man moved toward the van and peered through the windows, first near the front, then through the one beside her bed. When Beth opened the door to speak with them, she immediately regretted it. The man explained he was interested in the van conversion, but the discomfort remained after they left. That night, she struggled to sleep with the encounter still weighing on her in the darkness. Many viewers believe the men's actions seem more suspicious than simple curiosity. Their approach, disregard for boundaries, and focus on the van reminded others of behavior they had witnessed at isolated campsites. Commenters said Beth was right to trust her instincts, and that encounters like this often feel wrong for a reason. So what brought those men into her campsite that day? Hikers passing through, or something more concerning? And if Beth had kept the door closed, would things have ended differently? That's it for tonight. Which moment creep? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story, share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.